And we're back here at Boom and Bust. The guest, our monthly guest, Thomas Caldwell, chairman of Caldwell Securities Ltd. in Toronto. Tom, the elephant or the donkey in the room, of course, is the U.S. presidential election. We might as well get on that bandwagon. Everybody else is talking about it, it appears. So love to get your thoughts on the impact of the U.S. presidential race on our economic policy and generally here in Canada.
Well, our stance towards the United States always has been and must continue to be, we have to get along with them. And Brad Mulroney was great, and he brought us up to favored status with the United States. That is one of the key jobs of the Prime Minister of this country, to maintain positive relations with the United States, to be able to have open access to the President and to members of Congress if there's a problem that develops. And we have purposely and carelessly allowed those connections to fray over the last 9 years, including making fun of the U.S. president when Trump was in place. So we really have to work on that, because softwood lumber. When you were in politics and even before, softwood lumber has always been an issue with the United States. And we win at the World Trade, and then it comes back up again. We've got to be able to resolve our differences quicker, easier, and that's with a phone call. So whoever gets in, they're not going to be pro-Canada to start with.
No.
Is pretty ripped at us up here, and he likes to use us as a whipping boy to some degree. And similarly, Kamala Harris is no friend of Canada's either. So we really have to work at that relationship. That is our biggest trading partner, and we shouldn't work at alienating them. So that's an important thing. But whoever gets in, they're both protectionists. This plays well in America right now. They're paranoid about immigration. They're paranoid about world trade. They're paranoid about the Chinese and probably even the Canadians who are cheating anyway. So we really have to work at image building and relationship building. Whoever is our prime minister going forward, and I don't think the current group can do that anymore. They've lost credibility.
Yeah, and so it's maybe a change year. You've got certainly there'll be a new president in the United States, either of the current administration or the former administration, and things are maybe becoming a little bit less clear that the Canadian government has a long lifespan ahead of it. So in a sense, we might have two newcomers that are going to have to deal with one another across the common border.
The only thing I might say to that, Tony, is I don't think we're going to have a shortened election span. I think it's going to go into 2026. I think what the NDP did in terminating that voting trust, if you will, is try to get away from the scene of the accident. They're trying to pretend they weren't involved. And, oh, no, we left that a year or so ago. I think they still like their pensions. They still like their income stream. So my gut feel is they just want to distance themselves for political purposes. I don't think they're going to do anything substantive about that. So whoever comes, they're not going to be pro-Canada. Basically, Trump would be the worst of the two in terms of relationships with Canada. Harris, probably a little bit better, but it's just less negative.
Interesting. Moving back to Canada for a second then. What are the trends you're watching? Obviously, the biggest concern amongst Canadians is the economy and their own personal cost of living. So what are the trends that you're watching on that front?
Well, I tend to watch specific things. I have a significant exposure in the energy area, so I'm watching energy prices significantly. Interest rates I see as a given. They're going to be coming off at some point here. You do look at real estate prices. That's still a big component in Canada. But the real trends now are what is happening in the United States. And it really is more the national temper of the times, how protectionist, how paranoid, how negative. And there's a lot of that in America at the present time, and a great division. I've never seen it like that in my business career. So it's going to be a challenging time. You have to make your decisions literally on a short-term basis, week by week, day by day.
And are you finding investors are willing to do that, to make short-term decisions rather than longer-term decisions?
Well, you can all your decisions are in the short term, at least your actions are. But you're really trying to get the temper of the times. But as I say, we watch the U.S. more than we do that, economic conditions. But there are some storm clouds on the horizon. China having some issues. Europe having some own issues as well. And what are we going to do with these conflicts? So there's stuff you got to watch for. But basically, the environment is still relatively positive for equities.
We're speaking with Thomas Caldwell. He's chairman of Caldwell Securities Ltd. Our monthly discussion about the economy. We're going to take another brief break. We'll be back with our guest after these messages.